It's Wednesday, September the 8th, and I trust that you are well. We are in the 51st chapter of the prophecy of Isaiah, set in the 8th century, anticipating 150 plus years into the future, the destruction in the sense of Babylon, who will destroy Jerusalem and take the people captive into Babylon for 70 years. But Isaiah is looking way beyond that into a distant future that sees the coming of Jesus, but also the future that sees the very end of time itself, and eventually in the prophecy in the very last two chapters, the creation of the new heavens and new earth. Well, today we're in verses 7 and 8, and this is the third of three commands to listen. One of them was translated in verse 4 to pay attention. But again, now you see in verse 7, listen to me, you who know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. So he's talking to his people. Fear not the reproach of man, nor be dismayed at their revilings. For the moth will eat them up like a garment, and the worm will eat them like wool, but my righteousness will be forever, and my salvation to all generations. No one who has ever truly listened to God doesn't come away with a fresh sense of what's real and what's important. All the things around you, Isaiah is saying, all the ups and downs of daily life, whether it's in the cosmopolitan setting that you find yourself in, or in the more national and international news of 8th century BC, all of these things will disappear. But keeping your eye on the ball, keeping your eye on the narrative of the kingdom of God, God's enemies are going to be destroyed. Those who are taunting Israel just now, and there have always been taunters, there have always been naysayers, there have always been those who've seen it as their calling in life to ridicule the things of God. But you should fear God rather than fear man. Right? Problems arise when we look to men, when we look to the world, when we look to the things of this world, and we grow fearful of men. If God, you can write over these two verses, 7 and 8, if God be for us, who can be against us? He that spared not his own son, but freely delivered him up for us all, how shall he not also with him freely give us all things? Who shall lay any charge against God's elect? It is God who justifies. Who is he that condemns? And so on, the peroration of the 8th chapter of Romans. I think of the words of Jesus in the upper room in John 16. Take heart, I have overcome the world. Take heart, I have overcome the world. Remember that when you hear the headlines of today's news. Well, that's it for today. We'll continue tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.